I was pregnant, and I wasn't just pregnant, I was really pregnant. Hey guys, welcome back to a brand new video, or welcome if you guys are new to my channel. I've done this video so many times, guys, so many times. I've done it twice already in the past, so I guess 3 times the charm. And the first time I wasn't really committed to my YouTube, so I didn't do it like too good. I just did it to like put it out there and like tell you guys a story. And then the second time, I wanted to like go in and break it down and analyze it for you guys. And but that one like just wasn't good quality or anything, so I really wanted to just take my time to do it for the third time and make it as good as possible, as short and as quick and as simple for those of you guys that are watching. I know a lot of you guys are probably teens or young parents or just pregnant in general, and you guys want to know tips and tricks, or you guys want to know how to tell your parents, you guys want to know all the stuff that I had to go through. So I'm going to go ahead and tell you what I did personally. You guys can take my opinion, you guys can take a part of my opinion, you guys can go full blown the same thing that I did. I don't know, but I really hope that I'm here and I help you guys. And just know, hi guys, I was a teen mom too, and we will get through it, and it's okay. And yeah, let's get into this video. Okay guys, so I'm going to start off this video by saying how I found out, and then I'm going to go on to how I told my parents and my husband and everything, and then I'm going to go on to how I just told like our extended family, and how school was after that, and just everything that it was to be a teen mom. So yeah. Okay guys, so I officially found out that I was pregnant on July 28th, I believe, and I was pregnant, like the technical term of like conception, the time of conception or whatever, was told to me that it was May 21st or something like that, so very late May, and then I found out very late July. Obviously I had my feelings, and then that was just like the confirmation from the doctor that yes, 100% I was pregnant on July, but I knew that I was pregnant by the 4th of July. I already knew. So pretty much what ended up happening was I missed my first period, and I didn't really think anything of it. My period was always so routine, but I didn't think anything of it, just because I think I was kind of like in denial in myself that I was missing my period for a reason. Like I thought I was like, well, I'm just thinking that I'm missing it because I'm pregnant, but I'm not. Like I didn't want, like I was in really just denial. So I did tell my husband, and I told them like, hey, my period didn't come, but I don't know. I was like, don't worry about it, we'll just see what happens next month. And we kept doing what we did, we kept living our lives, it was okay. And then the next month came, and again I missed my period. And at this time, like my first trimester was so simple, so easy. I never was really nauseous until like the very last month of my first trimester. But I was really like smooth sailing. I think what ended up kind of giving me a hint was that I got nauseous one time after eating French fries and ice cream. And I used to love like the McDonald's French fries with ice cream. And I ate it one time. I was really, really craving it. We went to McDonald's, I got it, I was eating it, and I ended up throwing up a bunch afterwards. So it really was just to the point where I was like, what am I going to do? Like I'm pretty sure I am. So I was telling my husband this, and he just pretty much told me to just go get a pregnancy test and take it when you know you're comfortable and you want to take it. And you know, but you have to do it soon because you've already missed 2 periods. Obviously, we don't know how far along you are, and yeah, like that's what you need to do. He was really, I think he was really the responsible one out of it. Like he's always been the responsible one, still is the more responsible one. But yeah, I think he was like It's like you have to do it because you don't know how far along you are. You want the baby to be safe, and we need to know. We need to know so we can tell everybody, so we can see what we're gonna do. And I think we were both kind of scared, but he was just more mature about the whole situation. So what ended up happening was I asked my dad if we could. So this was over the summer break, obviously, and it was in July. It was like late June at this point when I went to go buy a pregnancy test. So it was late June, and obviously school starts in late July to early August is normally when it starts where we live in Arizona. So I needed school supplies and stuff, so I kind of like convinced my dad to take me to the dollar store. I was like, Dad, I need some school supplies and some snacks and stuff. So he just took me, and I was like, I'll be fast, I'll be in and out. So he waited in the car, and I went in, and I remember so vividly I got this, like the Cracker Jacks box. I got like a couple of those Cracker Jack boxes of caramel corn, and I loved caramel corn. Like, I was obsessed with caramel corn when I was pregnant, and that like started it just because I had to go and get the pregnancy test and I wanted to hide it. So I got that. I got like some glue sticks. I got like liquid glue and like pencils and all this stuff, and I put it into a bag and I put the pregnancy test in there, so it was like mixed with everything. You couldn't really see it. And I got in the car and we left. Then once we got back home, I knew I had to take the pregnancy test, but I was just debating it. So in the old house that we used to live in with my parents, the restroom is inside of my parents' room. So like there was no way that I was going to take that pregnancy test and just walk into the restroom, because I would have to walk through my parents' room with the pregnancy test. So I spent like the whole day just like contemplating how the heck I was going to go into the restroom and bring that pregnancy test with me. I was always so super tiny, so I knew I kind of like shove it in my shirt, like it would be a bulge and you would see it. So I decided like one day, like I think my parents were both outside in the front yard, and this was like a couple days later. I had told my husband that I got the pregnancy test, but I wasn't ready to take it yet, and he was just like, okay, just you have to take it soon, but okay if you don't want to take it today. So I think it was like a couple days later, my parents were both outside, and I ended up doing that. I ended up wearing like a hoodie, and I shoved it into the pocket of the hoodie. I knew I was pregnant as soon as I put the dropper into the pregnancy test. Like those lines were red, like it wasn't a line and a faint line. They were red. They were so red. I knew I was pregnant, and I wasn't just pregnant, I was really pregnant. That's when I had decided to text my husband, and I told him, I was like, hey, I took the pregnancy test, it came out positive. And I just remember him texting me back like, whoa, like what the F? I remember that was like his response to it, and I don't think he wasn't mad. I think he was just kind of like shook by the fact that I actually was, because he was the one like kind of pressuring me to like go and make sure that I was or wasn't, but he didn't really think that I was. So I think once it was finally confirmed, he was like, oh my god, like what are we gonna do? And I remember just like being in the restroom and like crying in the restroom for like 15 minutes, and I was like, I'm just taking a really big poop, okay? It's like taking a really long time. Don't question why I'm in here for so long. I'm just really emotional. So I was just crying and I finally like just swept my tears off. I went in my room. I acted like nothing happened, and me and my husband knew that I was pregnant for 2 whole weeks before we told anybody. So I found out like the day before the 4th of July. So we went and we hung out with his family and everything on 4th of July, and I mean, I was pregnant, but I didn't tell anybody. And well, obviously we hung out with my family too. I was pregnant, we didn't tell anybody. So it was kind of just like our little secret for a couple weeks. And then I believe it was like the 10th of the month or something, the 10th or the 11th, I believe. And I decided, well actually he decided to tell his mom by himself. He told her, and I think because I kept putting it off, I didn't want to tell my parents. I'm Hispanic, I'm Mexican, I'm Latina, and like I knew I was gonna get like beat if they knew I was pregnant. So I was like trying to avoid it at all freaking cost. And so finally, I think he did it to rush me to do it. He told his mom and his dad, and so his parents knew, and I was just at that point, I was like, well, it's not fair that they know, but my parents don't know, so I was kind of like torn between if I tell them or not, and I ended up telling them. So the way that I ended up telling my mom was, I remember taking her into her room, and I shut the door, and my mom was like, what's going on, like, what, like, are you hurt, is someone hurting you, are you okay? And I was like, no, like, I'm perfectly fine, actually. Not hurt at all. I'm just a little bit pregnant. And my mom was like, I knew it. Like, and I was like in shock. I was like, how did you know? I was like, if you knew, like, how come you didn't say anything? And she was like, well, you were just like craving stuff. And she was like, you asked me the other day about something when I was pregnant and this and that. And she's like, I kind of had a feeling. She's like, I know you and Dan have been together for a long time. She's like, I kind of had a feeling, like. And so, like, my mom was, obviously, she was really, really disappointed. Don't get me wrong. She was really disappointed, but she knew. She had that motherly instinct, and she knew that I was pregnant. So to her, it wasn't really a shock. It was just kind of like disappointment. But she just pretty much told me that I was an adult, and my parents would never, like, force me to not have the baby or anything like that. So that wasn't even a question. It was just, you're an adult, you need to go get your baby checked. So she was like, you're an adult, you need to go, you need to find a doctor. And she's like, we're going to go tell your sister. And she made me walk to the room, and me and my sister used to share a room at the time. So she made me walk to the room that we shared, and she made me sit down, and she's like, sister has something to tell you. And I was like, no I don't. But I went ahead and told my sister that I was pregnant. My sister went full-blown crazy, didn't want to hear anything I had to say, didn't want to talk to me, didn't want to sleep in the same room as me, didn't want to do all this stuff. She was like finishing college, and she was just like, now there's going to be an annoying crying baby in my room, and I'm not going to be able to finish college, and I'm not going to be able to do this, and I'm not going to be able to do that, and all this stuff in a bag of freaking chips. But I really could care less at the time. I was happy, I was okay, so I was fine. I didn't really care too much about it, but one of the things my mom asked my sister to do was to help me find an OBGYN so that I could go and get the baby checked. And my sister pretty much told me, no, you got yourself into this mess, you're going to get yourself out of this mess, you do it on your own. And so that was the moment where I started to be an adult, and I had to go, call the insurance, call these different offices, and finally see one that actually worked for me, and a doctor that worked for me, and everything. I set up an appointment, and 2 weeks later we were getting an appointment. And so I'm not going to fast track to the appointment just yet. So pretty much that's how my mom found out. The way my dad found out was my sister, the one that was all mad and yelling and everything. She wanted to get me, I guess, into more trouble than I already was. Obviously I was a teen parent, so I was already in trouble. I was already, like, my parents were already disappointed in me. But I guess she wanted to get me into more trouble. So she told my dad, which I think kind of ended up backfiring on her, because my dad wanted to hear it from me. So he was mad at her because she told him, because he wanted to hear it from me. And so he wasn't mad at me. He kind of just felt bad that I wasn't able to tell him. And the same thing with my dad. My dad just wanted me to go get the baby checked. He wanted me to make sure that it was okay, that I was okay. And he wanted me to know that my life was going to be, like, after that. Like, he pretty much just told me, like, okay, you're not a kid anymore, you're an adult, and on top of that, your life's going to suck, so deal with it. And that was hard. That was hard to, like, just a reality check all at once, like, from everyone around me. But, like I said, I ended up finding a doctor and all that, and I got an appointment for a couple weeks later. But with my husband's family knowing, so I went over there a couple times in between the date of the appointment and the day that we found out, and we told everybody. So they knew, and they were kind of like trying to convince me to be able to tell everybody in their family already, and I was like not having it, because I wanted to one, to make sure it was confirmed and that I actually really was pregnant, because I was kind of still in that state of denial. But also I wanted to hit like that 3-month line to like where I know the baby's completely safe before I told anybody. So I was like, no, I was like telling them like, don't call anybody, don't say anything, don't do anything, just wait for the ultrasound. And his parents were really supportive. I remember for like the 2 weeks straight, every like other day they would call me and pick me up, and then we would go somewhere and they'd be like, where do you want to go eat? What are you hungry? Do you want this? Do you want that? And so they were buying me food like left and right, because I don't know, they wanted to feed the baby. But yeah, they were like calling me left and right. Make it like we were hanging out like every other day for like this 2 weeks. So finally the day came and I went to the doctor's appointment with my husband and my mom, and I remember just like being so freaking scared. I was like, they're gonna tell me I'm not, it's okay, like this whole thing was like a whole thing for no big deal, like I'm not gonna be pregnant, it's gonna be okay. So they made me take a blood test, which I hate needles, I hate blood coming out of me, I hate seeing the blood be like syringed out. I hate the doctors pretty much. I don't really like going. So I ended up going, obviously, and they were taking the blood out. I was like freaking out. My mom wasn't even in the room that they were doing that in, because it was in like a separate room in that little office, little clinic. So I was just in there. It was just me and my husband, and he was just looking at me the whole time, and he's like, are you okay? Like, are you fine? And I was like there with my arm like this. I was like, no, I don't think I am. I really don't think I am. They're taking my blood out. I'm gonna die. So yeah, like they took a lot of blood out. They took like 5 little tubes of blood. They made me pee in a cup, all this stuff. And then I was just sitting in like the little office that I was supposed to be in. And by that time, my mom and my husband were in there. Everybody was in there. I said everybody, like there's a lot of people. My husband and my mom and me were in there. We were waiting for the doctor to come and give us the results to the blood work and the pee test and everything. And they just came in and they're like, okay, we're gonna do an ultrasound. And my mom just looks at me like she was waiting for them to say like, yes, she's pregnant. No, she's not pregnant. If so, this is how pregnant she is. They just came in and right away were like, okay, we're gonna do an ultrasound. So that pretty much just confirmed, yeah, I am pregnant. They're doing an ultrasound. They did the ultrasound and they were like, okay, you're like about 2 months pregnant. I was 9 weeks pregnant at the time, so I was like 9 weeks and 8 days, so about to be like 10 weeks pregnant. So I was like a month and 2 weeks pregnant at the time. So they came, they did the ultrasound, and she was just like kicking around like crazy, and that was the first ultrasound that I ever seen her in. And they had, by that time, like you could hear the heartbeat and everything already, so they showed us the heartbeat and everything. And as soon as they showed us the heartbeat, my husband just started like, he just broke down crying. And I remember like to this day, my mom tells me that's the moment I knew that he was going to stay there with you and he was going to help you and he was going to be there for you. So that's the moment I knew that he was going to be a good dad. And so yeah, like that was a whole thing. Like my mom really loves my husband for that. Like she like knew that I was gonna be okay without pregnancy after that. So yeah, my husband was emotional. I was kind of emotional. We got the pictures, and then on the drive back home, instead of me going back home with my parents and everything, my parents dropped me off at his parents' house, and we told his parents. We showed them the pictures, and I think that was the same day that we told his siblings, and then that kind of just gave them the okay to tell whoever they wanted to tell. So we were in his parents' room for like 2 hours on like a phone call with every single one of our family members. You guys are Hispanic, you guys know you guys have like 50 aunts and uncles and cousins and tios, tias, and everybody is like everywhere. So we had a lot of phone calls. They called everybody. They called my husband's grandma. They called both his tias. They called his tia from the other side. They called his other grandma. They calling cousins and their parents' cousins and all these people. So they were left and right calling everybody. And then I kept it to myself for about another month or two, and then I told my brothers because I was so scared to tell my brothers and then be disappointed of me. Both my brothers are older than me, obviously, and they're boys, and I just thought, like, oh my god, they're gonna be so disappointed. I don't want to tell them. My brothers have always been my best friends too. Like, I've always been so much closer to my brothers than my sisters, so I was so scared to like break their heart and tell them that and then be disappointed in me. So obviously I had to tell them before I was like 6 months pregnant, and it was in too deep. So I ended up telling them. They were both actually really, really supportive. I remember, like, I told them each like separately, and I told my oldest brother, and he called me. He had like a full-on talk with me. He's like, you're an adult now. You gotta be careful. You gotta love your kid, and you gotta be there for your baby and all this stuff. And he gave me his lecture and stuff, but I knew he wasn't mad. He knew, like, he's like, I know you're gonna be okay. He's like, but you just really have to grow up from here on out. And then I told my other brother. My other brother called me, and he was like, you're gonna be okay. You'll be fine. My brother had his son when he was 19, so he was pretty young too. But he was like, you're gonna be okay. You'll be fine. So I know you're gonna be a good mom. I know you're gonna be a good parent. You're gonna be a good wife. You're gonna do good. You're gonna be okay. You just gotta keep your head up. You gotta keep going, and I'm here for you. So it was a lot easier telling my brothers than it was to tell my sisters. But yeah, that was a whole thing, and that's how I told everybody, guys. So if you guys were wondering where I am now, what we're doing now, and just everything that is happening now, currently. So now I am 19 years old. I'm going to be 20. So my daughter's 3. She's going to be 3 next month. So it's been a very, very, very long time since I've been pregnant. It's a very long time since I've been a teen mom. And yeah, I'm okay. I'm perfectly fine. I'm so happy. I'm so blessed. And I just wanted to make this video to show you guys that it really is okay. Obviously, I don't promote teen pregnancy. I don't want you guys to go out there and try to get pregnant when you guys are so young. You guys have your lives ahead of you, and it really does. It doesn't stop your life. Your life isn't over if you have a kid when you're a teen. But it does slow life down. It does make some stuff hard. Nothing is impossible, but it does make a lot of stuff hard. It does make finishing school hard. It makes getting a job hard. It makes so many little things that we don't really appreciate, that we take advantage of. And we have to grow up, and we have to realize that stuff. So I don't recommend you get pregnant as a teen. I say that you try to be careful and try to be safe and try to protect yourself. With that being said, if you guys are already teens, you're going to be okay. If you're already teen parents, you're going to be okay. You're going to get through it. I promise you, it's going to be okay. And then just enjoy all the little things, because they grow up so fast, guys. They really do. They grow up really, really fast, and it's heartbreaking. But yeah, that's my video. That's my story. If you guys like this, then be sure to give it a like and a comment and a thumbs up and all that fun stuff. Bye bye.